So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at these 5 settings in the track setup page, which are absolutely brilliant. And I love the fact that Electron has added this functionality to the Digitakt too. So these 5 options are something that I use quite a lot on the Electron Syntakt. And I always wanted them to implement this into Digitakt firmware. So I'm really happy with this. And it was one of the big reasons why I went ahead and bought the Digitakt 2 as soon as it was released. So yeah, this was massive for me. What it allows me to do in my live set is it allows me to take something like CC1, which is a mod wheel CC, and I can basically use that CC to open up 4 different parameters. So this becomes a performance macro, which is something that the Digitakt never had, and it was always missing performance macros. The Octatrack obviously has performance macros with, say, the crossfader and the scenes. The Syntakt has the performance macros like this, where you get these mod wheel velocity mods and things like that. You can use them to basically open and close multiple parameters. And then on the rhythm, so the analog rhythm, you see that it's got the pads, and you can basically use the pressure sensitive pads to open and close multiple parameters as well. So performance macros are brilliant, obviously, for playing live, and I'm just so happy that they did this. So what I'm going to do is just show you how to use one for now, and then I'll talk about the other 4 in a second. So what we're going to do is just use Modulation Wheel first. Now, a Modulation Wheel is on a keyboard, and it's on the left-hand side, and it's the wheel next to the pitch bend. It goes from 0 all the way up to 128, and you can basically move the value up and down like this. What I've done is on the Hydrasynth, I've gone into the macro sign, and I've made sure that this knob is kicking out a CC off CC1, so I can mimic a Modulation Wheel for this demonstration. So what I'm going to do is use this sound, which is a pad sample, and we're going to manipulate this using these macros so we can open 4 parameters at once. So let's come out of here, let's go to the filter page, and what I'm going to do first is not use this one actually. I'm going to go to this one, and we're going to add a bit of resonance there. And this is the first parameter that we're going to adjust. So if I go back into the setup, go down again to Modulation Wheel, and then what I can do is open this up, and then we can choose on the first one, we can choose filter, frequency. And you can hear that I can set a maximum value there, or you can go lower. So let's just test this out now. So you can hear that that mod wheel is controlling the filter. Let's just bring the resonance down just a touch. In fact, we'll do that one next, right? So what we can do is we can start the resonance quite low, and then we can go into the setup again. We can go to Modulation Wheel, and the next one that we choose is filter resonance. And let's bring it up, and then what we can do, set a maximum value like that. And then we're opening and closing the frequency and the resonance. Let's just choose a couple more now just to max out the options that we've got. So what I'm going to do is I am going to send this sound into the reverb and also the chorus. So let's go to chorus send, and then what I'm going to do, bring it up. And in fact, the chorus, what we'll do is we'll change that to delay. And then I'm going to go into the effects. With the delay, just add a little bit of feedback, put it on ping pong, turn that up. And then with the reverb, so let's just go to the second page. We're just going to turn that up as well. So you can hear we've got no reverb or delay when we're playing the low notes. But when we start to bring this up, we get more of the effects coming through. Really cool performance macro. And then what you can also do as well, this is more advanced, but we'll cover this in upcoming courses when we go into like live performance and things like that, and I'll show you some really advanced techniques. If you're eager though, you can look at my YouTube channel. I often talk about all of this stuff when I'm talking about my live rig. But what we can also do is we can also set up one mod wheel like this to trigger multiple tracks for a massive project macro. And I'll just quickly talk about it and show you how to do it. So if you was to go into let me go to MIDI config and then go to channels, you can see that all my channels are actually off at the moment. But if I was to switch all of these, actually, let me just double check something. So yeah, my auto channel at the moment is set to 11. That means no matter what track I'm on, so if I change the track and press the key on the hydrogen, the hydrogen controls whatever track is selected. But what we can do is we can go in there and change it like this. So if we go to MIDI config, channels, and we turn the auto channel off, and then what I'm going to do is just do this for a few channels so you get the idea. Put all of these onto, actually, what was we on? Sorry about this, let me just double check. Okay, so MIDI transmit from the hydrosynth is 11, so we need to put all of these on 11. I'm just going to do the first 5 tracks for this demonstration, and I'm going to come off that now. Right, so if we go to track 5 again and go back into the modulation wheel, obviously this mod wheel controls this track. Then if we hold track and go to 4, you can see the mod wheel is also controlling track 4 and so on. So track 3, track 2, track 1, and you'll notice that they're all the same. So imagine we've got 4 parameters on this track, and then I program 4 parameters on this track, this track, this track, this track. And let's say we do it for all 16 tracks. That is 16 times 4, which is 64, I think. So yeah, 64 parameters can be opened up using this one knob. I could set up another macro to be MIDI CC2, and then as well as MIDI CC1, which is modulation setup, we also have the breath controller. Now, a breath controller is basically a MIDI controller that you can manipulate using your breath, which basically uses your breath and sends it into, basically reads out as a CC message. So the harder you blow, the bigger the CC message, and the lower you blow, the lower the CC message. So you blow harder, it goes up, blow lower, it goes down. I don't have a breath controller to demonstrate this, but I use the breath controller CC number, which is 2, as another mod wheel. So that means I can have 2 knobs on the hydrosynth, one to control all 16 modulation wheel performance macros. That's 64 parameters from that one, and then CC2 will give me another 64 parameters. So that's 2 live performance macros, so just 2 knobs that can control 128 parameters between 2 knobs. Massively powerful stuff. We didn't have this before on the Digitakt. So that's how I use them in my live rig. I actually now use the Blood Noise Endeavors, I forgot what they're called now, what they're called, expression sliders. So there's some expression sliders by Blood Noise. You'll see them in my live set, and they get filtered through the Pirate MIDI Bridge 6, and that allows me to set one up as the mod wheel and one up as the breath controller. And it gives me that octatrack feel, you know, with the sliders. So that's how I use it. Let's just maybe talk about the velocity mod. So let's go back. Oops, I better just sort this out actually. So let me just clear what we had there. MIDI config, channels. Let me just turn all these to off again. And then on not track 11, on the auto channel, let's put that to 11. Let's come back out. Right, so we're controlling this sound again now. What we can also do is go into setup and go down to velocity mod. So remember, velocity is how hard I press the key. See, if I hit it really hard, you can see it goes right up, hit it low, comes down. It's not reacting the best really from the pads, but we'll have to play around with that. Maybe if I go into the voice on here, yeah, there's some settings that I can do on the hydrogen, but we'll just leave it for now. So I'll just show you how to set this up. So I'm just going to do one for now. If we go to frequency again and just turn that up, you can hear lower key presses, lower filter, medium key presses, opens up a little bit. Really hard key presses, really opens up the filter. So we can use velocity from a keyboard or a keypad like this, basically how hard you press it, to manipulate the sound using the performance parameters. And then we can also go to Aftertouch as well, which is a cool one. And now this one, let me just set this up. So let's go filter again. Filter, turn that up. With this one, what it is you press the key. So you press the key on the keyboard, but then something like this, or some of the top range keyboards, you basically got this cushiony press after. So you press the key, and then if I press it down, it's kind of like the analog rhythm with this pressure sensitive pads. Pretty cool, right? So you can do that as well. And then we have also got pitch bend. So I haven't got a pitch bend wheel, but I can use this as a demonstration. So just imagine that's my pitch bend. You can either go up. Oops, sorry, 1 second. Let me come back out of that. I'm on the wrong channel there. So pitch bend, yeah, let's just pretend this is a pitch bend, and then let's send it to the filter again. Let's turn it up. And then what I'm going to do actually, just before we do that, is I'm going to come out of this and just put the filter in the middle. Bit of resonance for this demonstration, because I want to show you how you can go down and up. So negative and positive values. Let's go pitch bend, and let's use this knob here to demonstrate. So I can basically open the filter, or I can close it down. Pitch bend has up and down, and that's why it's quite useful. If you can get a MIDI controller that has a pitch bend wheel, then you're able to bring the parameters down and push them up as well, which makes even more interesting performance macros. And don't forget, I only use 2 of these, but you can basically use all 5 if you wish. And you can manipulate them however you please. So each of the tracks can have different MIDI channels, and you could have different controllers or different controller parameters controlling each one of these. For an example, or as an example, on the MIDI Twister, this could be track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4, track 5, all the way up to 16, and they could be individual performance macros set to, say, the mod wheel. So there's definitely a lot of different ways that you can manipulate this and set it up. One last thing to talk about is if you don't have a controller, you don't necessarily need one, because what you can do is you can use the level data knob here to open and close any of these on any of these pages. So if I go onto the mod wheel and I just use keyboard, I can use that one there instead. Let me just bring this filter down again. Let's try it again. So if all you have is the Digitakt 2, then you still can use this feature. And don't forget, you can go to another track and manipulate that one, and then you can switch back to track 5 and manipulate that and use that as a performance feature.